Right guys, how you doing? My name's Size, it's Task Force Gaming. Dev report number 13 has just dropped from ARMA, which means we're going to get some news on some new updates, etc, etc. So they've just released the experimental build, which you can download separately on Steam now, and it's literally got the major update on there, 0.9.6, so you can go on there and test it out and play all you want, which is pretty cool. So dev report is... oh my god, so there's some pretty lengthy stuff on here, boys. We're going to have to get into this. Right, are you ready? 3, 2, 1. We've recently released an array of improvements during our premiere of the ARMA REFORGER experimental build. Here we'll discuss what additions you may encounter in the workshop and workbench. Some words of warning regarding mods and our plans for addressing unfair advantages in the game. This is also information how you can play the team from time to time. Oh, so you can actually play with the ARMA team on the experimentals, so they might be hosting some sort of events on there. That's pretty cool. So we've got some intelligence here. Last week we released ARMA REFORGER Experimental, a separate Steam client application that maintains a build of experimental content. I can show you that immediately. So there it is. It's a separate download to the game. It's not on Xbox, it's on Steam, and you can only play with other Steam players. So this is literally, look, 0.9.6 information and update. We do every video there is on ARMA REFORGER, so stick with me guys and we'll get through it. So the build was released with items such as new destructible systems fixes for the broken camera controls while transitioning from game master to ARMA vision, changes the road rendering process, smoother transitions, and much more. You can get the full changelog on there, so I'll link my video down below, and if you, like most of the people that watch these videos, can't bother to read, then, you know, hop on, have a look. There are many benefits to this build, including the ability to provide more frequent and flexible updates to our players. If you'd like an advanced look at these features, which to help test, then you can find the process to get involved on our recent news article. As always, I will be putting this link in the description. You can click it and, of course, go through all of this at your own leisure. So, some of you probably noticed that one of the experimental server caps was increased to 64 players. This is to gather more feedback about higher player count, multiplayer stability. Quite a bit of focus was spent optimizing our network traffic in 0.9.6, and we're looking at stressing those solutions using public stressed test play sessions. We're going to bring a typical playtest crowd, which is a mix of QA engineers, testers, and developers. We hope some of the players can join us, and we can bring the numbers on a single server to their limits. We've already held one play session. Thank you for a good match, and we are pleased to say that the stability was better. I'm 100% down for playing an experimental server full match with these boys and girls, so I need to keep my eye out for that because it will make a banging video, and I'll actually be able to get on a server with full people and play a full game. I went on the experimental servers. There was only a few people on there, and they all picked the US side, so there was literally no players, and they were just steaming through checkpoints, so not very good. Keep an eye out for our social media if you want to join. Yeah, I got notifications on, which is why I get all these pretty quick. So, technical statement here. Dear community, the ARMA REFORGER experimental builds updated on Steam. Blah, blah, blah. Yep, I literally just done that video, actually. It's the last ARMA video, so I can put that in the description if you want. Mod presets. To start, there has been an improvement with our mod manager in the game workshop, which helps users to manage their mods with presets. Players can now easily enable/disable mods and create presets from active ones. The features also include a tool with more straightforward configuration for server admins. Running dedicated servers with mods, there's a tab showing both server mod configuration and command line needed to run the game if needed. So there you go. There's mod manager, JSON and command line presets. More stuff for the workshop there. Just showing you. So it might not be bad, but I like pictures. You know when you read a book and there's pictures. Whoa. So, scenario IDs. While we're on top of the server configuration, anytime a user wants to start a dedicated server running his favourite scenario, the scenario ID must be set in the server configuration file. This is only accessible to Steam players and modders. The snippet of this part looks like this. So, there you go, modders and people. So where'd you get the ID from? There's a startup parameter that orders the game to scan through the data folders, including the downloaded mods. The result is written down in the console log. There you go. If you need the ID. Check the console.log file, usually placed in My Games, ARMA REFORGER profile console log. You should see something similar. There you go, tutorial, conflict, game master, etc. Then just copy and paste the entry you wish to use on your JSON server's configuration for details. on the process and how to set up the server's configuration, blah, blah, blah. So that's just for modders and people setting up stuff, which I think is a lot more, maybe more than the players right now. Light portals. Light has also gotten some attention. What does it look like when you turn on light portals? Look at the difference. The feature premiere in the experimental build. Be aware that this feature is heavily work in progress and is not the final state. Can't really... Yeah, looks good. Right, Workbench. Lastly, we would like to inform you about a few changes regarding Steam and Workbench. Steam has been integrated into Workbench, and now Workbench will require running Steam app in order to start. Operations now. Since ARMA REFORGER's release, there has been a couple of features of the game modes that would like to discuss, specifically the nature of unfair advantages. It's a war crime. If you improperly use a flag, emblem, or uniform from the adversary, it can be considered a war crime. That's what the rules tell us. In Reforger, it might get unfair if a member of the opposition steals the enemy uniform. We have done this. We have done videos on this. They can't be serious about this. We was doing it. It was so funny. We went in and we put on the Russians uniform. Oh no, players are Russians. We put on the US uniform. We had the US guns and we had the US cars, and we made a roadblock. And then, you know, the US were just coming along. Was obviously Russia was like, hey, we'll stop a minute. And obviously, it would take them a minute to click that our names weren't above our heads, and we'll just absolutely open up on the cards. It was hilarious. So, creating a ruse, especially a combination of stolen radio. Yep. In Arma 3, we just disabled the feature, redressing the adversary uniform, since there was not any further plan with it, but that's different now. The biggest problems in the game is mostly the fact that this action is very easy to do, simply a matter of a few clicks. Yeah, because you're stealing the other person's uniform. This should not be the case, and here's how we plan to remedy this in the future. This doesn't need remedying. This is just like, this is fun gameplay, man. First, we plan to implement delayed actions in the inventory, not related only to uniforms. Ah, man. I mean, feel free to read through that, guys, but I'm not impressed by that, man. It's funny, man. You got to see the funny side. I know it's a combat simulator. If there was a small squad that just killed another small squad and they took their uniforms to blend in with the enemy and create an ambush, so be it. That's realism for you. Anyway, radios. On a similar note, players can take enemy radio and listen to adversary conversations. Yes, they can. And not just this, they can, if they know the frequency, also speak to the other party. Correct, like you could at IRL. The reasons why we don't deny this is the fact it generates very interesting situations. Thank you. Same as the uniforms though, so you should leave that alone. Understand it. We can get very messy to understand who's actually the enemy to mitigate this issue. We have already added the caller identification of the station. For the stolen radios, the game shows unknown station. That's of course not enough, and people who like this feature argue it's now easier to discover who's the enemy. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, a bit controversial all this stuff, man. I think leave it in. Why not? So, what do you think? Let us know. Yeah, well, I'm letting you know. Don't touch any of the above. Just spend your time putting some content in there. Do something else. It's funny. You can create different situations, like I said. Bit of role play, whatever. Leave it in there. Okay, moving down. Now, for a separate but equally important matter, we want to assure our community what downloading mods from our official ARMA REFORGER in-game workshop is safe. However, downloading and running mods from external sources, as for virtually any other software, always possess a potential security risk for the user. Should you want to download some software from an unknown publisher, always make sure the source is trustworthy. Check the popularity of the plugin. Well, that goes without saying, guys. If you're going to get ARMA mods and things like that, please just do it from the workshop, unless there's a specific reason you're not. And if you're not, just be smart about it. It's easy peasy. Of course, we've built the Infusion engine and Workbench tools and extensive modding possibilities in mind. In fact, our own developers at Bohemia Interactive are using the same tools as we offer to the community for free with the ARMA REFORGER game. These tools give modders previously unheard possibilities. It's going to be awesome when everyone's... Because there's a couple of pages and there's millions of mods, but they're not being used. They're just sat there. They need to be added. Like, we have zombie mods, we have night vision, we have modern guns, we have all different vehicles and cars, and I'm sure there's probably base building in there as well. Can't we have a DayZ or something on there? An ARMA REFORGER DayZ? So to create new assets and features and or almost every Infusion powered games with these possibilities, however, comes the risk of exploits. Once again, users should always be cautious with running any software from unknown source. Yeah. Always checking the code, knowing the risks, etc. Right, logistics, and I think we're about there, guys. Logistics, you might have spotted another community radar recently landed. Comrade 4, the community has always been very active and creative with their amazing artistry and talents. We look forward to seeing the progress forward. So, if you don't know about it, they do these Comrade things where people's art, screenshots, etc. all go in and they do like a shout out, which is pretty cool. So, Laxman there. I had an epic time. I'm not long finished playing. I was playing with Vogitech Matthaus and a few other people. So Bookfast Wine retweets everything I do Armour. So cheers for that, dude. And Laxman up there, Laxman, sorry, is one of the Armour devs. And there's another guy as well that always retweets and likes my videos and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So thanks while you're on here. Also, our team is also preparing a wide variety of organised scenarios. If your community or group would love to join your Milsim session, but would have been willing to hold a friendly match with a PvP clan on one of our CNH maps, in the meantime, come meet us in public servers and say hello. I actually might do that. I'm going to keep my eye out for public events. That is the development report number 13. So there you go, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. A bit of intel for you. And stay tuned for more ARMA updates. Make sure you liked and subscribed and all that. And we'll catch you next one. Peace.